how about them tops, son?
All day, SEC boys. SEC, they supposed to be SEC. Where's the other, baby?
You're listening to the Red Out Podcast.
Hello everyone, and welcome into a Red Out short clip here. This is from our latest episode. Hope you enjoy. Anybody got any winners and losers this week?
Yeah, I have a loser, America, because there is not a real Cinderella in the NCAA tournament, and it makes me sad. Oregon is the highest seed that's in the Sweet 16. They're a 12th seed, which is kind of ridiculous.
Poor old Cinderella Oregon with $1 billion budget and all the Nike money behind it.
Yeah, literally all of Nike.
I mean, that's literally like the story of Cinderella, wasn't it? She had $1 billion budget to go make that glass slipper.
That's true. Cinderella did have the nicest shoes, so maybe Oregon can be Cinderella. Though,
we know it's not Duke because Zion does not have the best shoes.
No.
Right?
Which I have reeled myself in from Facebook arguments with people that say that's not favoritism or some kind of...
About him getting different shoes than everybody else?
Yeah, legit shoes that they came in and did stuff with, so that's just me. Loser for me is Duke. I'm sorry. I hate Duke.
It's just because Devin's depressed
I hate Duke.
that Taco could not bring down Zion.
I was not happy.
They're a winner because they survived.
Yeah, you can say that.
Until they're knocked out, they're there. They're like the herpes. They keep coming back.
See, what Devin is trying to say is that when Duke wins, America loses. It's like the New England Patriots.
It's kind of true, though. But speaking of that...
Oh, yes. I was going to say.
Yeah,
you beat me to it.
Gronk dipping out.
Loser Jared, because his boy Gronk retired. So
yeah, right?
He's out. Listen. I still think the man retired because he got absolutely obliterated on that tackle for the Miami Miracle play. Kenyon Drake put him on skates, and he doesn't know how to tackle, and he's going to be an embarrassment forever because of that.
I think he's old and he's been beat the crap. And he's like,
20,
I'm done.
He's 29.
I know, that's what kills me.
He's like half robot now because he's had so many surgeries.
Yeah, I always joke that he's more machine than man at this point. Which, but again,
that's a Star Wars reference. But yeah,
unfair advantage. Let's talk about that bionic arm he's got.
Yes,
that he just throws into those little corners who are trying to cover him, and it's like, oh yeah, this 6'7", 280-pound, 260-pound guy with this legit metal arm. Yeah, I'm gonna be able to cover that. Yeah, thanks guys.
He's not the Winter Soldier, okay? It's hinges. It's his arm underneath. But...
I'm just saying that if I take a metal hinge to the temple, even with a helmet on, I'm not gonna be able to focus on pass coverage. I'm just throwing it out there.
That's hilarious.
I don't hate Gronk.
He's won me a lot of fantasy games.
He's funny as crap. I mean, he's like the only thing about that team that I didn't absolutely despise. Like,
yeah, I never liked Brady. Edelman, I'm not a big fan of Edelman, but Gronk, as dumb as he is, he's a dumb, lovable.
Gronk was having fun, man.
He's doing what like any 20-something would do.
Yeah.
You know, like that's what you think. Yeah. And not only that, the dude didn't spend a lick of his salary and was living off of endorsement money for most of it. Which is, as dumb as we think he is, pretty sharp.
I wonder what kind of chance that Barstool would have of landing Gronk on their squad, because he seems like he would be the perfect fit for that.
He absolutely would. I would listen to the call of that. Like, if they could do calls of games, like, even just, like, streaming them. Now, granted, they don't have the rights to do that, and they'd get sued to death, but...
It's still hilarious.
Wouldn't Gronk be fun?
Yes.
Like, if you think that the Tony Romo, like, picking apart stuff before is interesting... Imagine Gronk, like, pounding Coors Lights and doing the same thing at the same time. Like, wouldn't that be awesome?
That would totally be his environment, though.
Yeah, exactly.
He could totally do that, and I could totally see that. I honestly see him going to, like, a Fox or ESPN. He's going to be an analyst. He's going to be the Jason Witten or whatever, which, by the way...
With better hair.
Yes, but anybody else, like, really just kind of doing that sideways look that Jason Witten's coming back?
Yeah, like, I'm not sure what he's going to accomplish because the Cowboys aren't winning the Super Bowl. So
he already couldn't run. He couldn't run after the catch. So I mean, he'll just get about a 5-yard gain and get tackled, and he'll just methodically move down the field with Randall Cobb and Zeke and whoever.
Yeah, that's what enough. Yeah, and by the way, I'm a Packers fan, and I am so depressed now.
They
have nobody, Cobb. And I'm like, I mean, they must be drafting a ton.
Hey, they're playing opening Thursday. I saw that today against the Bears.
Well, the Dolphins quarterback is Ryan Fitzpatrick, so I mean, it could be worse for you, Devin.
It could be. You could have a geriatric as your.
It's magic, baby.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Do we have any other winners or losers? Now that I took us down that freaking off the track.
Oh my gosh.
Chalk was the winner.
This
Boring
is true.
chalk.
This is true.
Yes, there was no seed below out of the top 16 seeds, 14 advanced. The only two schools that didn't make it were the two Kansas schools. I mean, this is just boring. I guess we had to get punished for Loyola making the Final Four last year by having a just boring power conference, just top teams
to sacrifice for this year.
Agreed.
By the way, totally would sacrifice virgins to kill Duke's chances. Just saying.
Same.
I loathe Duke and I loathe Tennessee, so...
Well, you're real sad then, because both of them are advancing.
Yes,
How do you feel about North Carolina and old Thayton Roy?
Ugh, North Carolina. Ugh.
He's going to get vertigo in that Elite Eight matchup.
Go Auburn is all I can say.
Funny.
That's my favorite. Loser's Vertigo.
Vertigo.
I'm sorry, that's real mean of me to say, because he's like 95 years old and probably like legitimately has issues, but it is real weird.
Dadgum.
What?
Dadgum.
Dadgum Roy is a great Twitter follow, by the way. Dadgum Roy is funny, because that's just a really good parody account of his. But no, man, I mean, like you said, Chalk's the winner. It is kind of boring, which is why you find yourself like putting the games on as like almost like background noise. And not only Chalk, but point spreads being busted. So they talk about how Vegas always knows what's going on, but Vegas has been super duper wrong so far.
Yes.
I can't remember the stat, but most of the point spreads have been off by at least 10 points, like because of so many blowouts. Which my wife loves games where there's no competition. Like her favorite Western games to watch are ones where there's no drama. Like, she gets real upset when we're, like, within a possession or two. She's like, why can't they just blow them out so I can enjoy this? And I was like, well...
She's one of those people that went to the Civil War fields and watched the boys fight, and she thought that they were just going to blow them out. And then
and then everybody starts dying, and it's terrible, and she freaks out. Yes. Oh, she did not do well at Gettysburg. That was a 7-mile hike. She did not do well. I can't say anything either. My knee was screwed up for a week after that.
I guguess another loser is Jared, because Murray State lost.
Right?
Poor Jared.
Man. John Morant is gone.
Plays taps. That's not copyrighted, is it?
I still hope he gets drafted by the Knicks. I really hope he does. And then has to deal with the abysmal front office and just organization that the New York Knicks are. I hope he has to deal with that.
But for real, how long have the Knicks been terrible? Because
about as long as I've been alive.
Let's say, weren't they good at one point?
Yeah.
I heard there was
99.
Indiana, but...
The strike shortened season, they made the finals, and they haven't done really anything since.
So it's about when Jared was born. 99.
Yeah. Which
basically
99. I don't think he was born in 99.
He's not that baby.
So how old are you, Jared?
25.
25. Okay, so you've been born in 99 at least. Okay.
Yeah.
He's not that much of a... How old is Sam, by the way? It was his birthday.
Yeah.
I think he's just a couple of years younger than I am.
Yeah, happy birthday, Sam. KSR hack. So.
Well, when he said that one kid... what's... Guys, I'm blanking. The JUCO recruit that cut it down to 6 and Wester's in it. What's his name?
Oh, Sean McNeil.
He said, he's like, oh yeah, that guy's from my high school. I was like, how old are you?
Yeah.
You went to high school with that guy.
Yeah, it's just like... It's one of those that you just go, man, how old are these people?
Or how old are we, right?
I know, right? By the way, I'm old man. Let's move on. Sorry, we're just kind of we're just sitting around the water cooler.
This because Western there's some Western stuff to talk about. We're really excited about it because there's some good stuff going on.
Yes.
But because it's kind of since
we're kind of between seasons, really.
We're almost at that time where there's nothing else to talk about. So we're like biting at the bits, just talk about bullcrap. So that's why if we go off topic, meh.
Yeah, just keep listening. That's all there is.
We'll get back to something at some point.
And I always try to put the times on the episode so you can just skip ahead when we're just
right.
on. So Ross, our softball person, what are you thinking this week? Softball, baseball. What's our update?
It was another great weekend on the diamond for the Fighting Hilltoppers. We'll first start off with the sport that's not as successful this year. Baseball had a great weekend. They went down to Miami and took 2 out of 3 from FIU.
Thank goodness.
One was in comeback fashion. I think 3 runs in the 9th to win 5-4, and then on Sunday they blew them out 15-1 in 7 innings. Mercy rolled them. So, Jake Sanford is a name you guys should know as Western fans. He's not related to Mike. He's actually from Nova Scotia, Canada, but I think he's got like almost close to 10 home runs this year. He's a freshman sensation. He had like 3 homers this weekend or something like that. And, we're at 5-1 in the conference right now. This whole year hinges on them finishing the top 8 and making the Conference USA tournament. If they do that, then their season's a success. Pulaski keeps his job. Right now, they're tied for second behind Southern Miss. So right now, if the season ended today, they're at 11-11, 5-1 in the conference. Everything's great. So we will keep up with that this week. They've got Eastern, which is, the little brother down the road. We play at in Richmond tomorrow at 3. So, I guess we'll just see if they can win a game they're supposed to. And then they host Charlotte, who is actually below us in the Conference USA standings. So, another good opportunity this week. If they can go 3-1 this week, then they're really on track because they, minus a loss to Austin Peay last week, they've won 5 of their last 7 games. Also next week they play Vanderbilt, number 6 Vanderbilt on Tuesday in Nashville. So before we record next week, we'll know a lot about if this team's really improving or if it's just kind of, how good or bad Conference USA is. But right now, be encouraged, and I think that game next week will be on SEC Network or something like that too. So if you guys actually want to watch Western on TV, it is possible.
Well, Ross, just before we get to the better sport, do you think they can keep that? This pace up? 5-1 in conference is kind of real freaking good at this point, especially considering where the team sits.
I would normally just say no, but they've got actually hitting, which has kind of been our problem. Pitching's always going to be the wild card for us, but you look at how we've won games: 5-4, 6-5, 5-3, 1-2, 5-4, 15-1.
It's just getting the sticks.
Yeah, it shows we can win small and win big. So I'm kind of encouraged, especially going down to Miami against a good FIU program that they're, like we've always talked about the last 3 weeks. They can get the kids that play year round better. They can get better recruits. So there's nothing but to be encouraged after this recent 2-week stretch. So
that's very encouraging. To know that one of the male sports this year is actually going to.
I know, right?
If we're compared to the other male sports, it'd probably be, I would say, surprising, but still, we're at 11-11 on the season. So right. It's all relative success. It'd be like Stansberry's first year. If he would have won 20 games and overachieved. That's kind of how we're at right now because we had nowhere to go but up.
That's true.
Which we have gotten some criticism from a fellow TTR writer that said that we were not critical enough of Stans, and
which is the funniest thing in the world because Matt is really, the most Pollyanna dude.
Yes.
And that makes me so happy.
I would love to. Yeah, we can get back into that after we get through these little updates.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Sorry, I am very random at sometimes.
So softball.
So softball. Now here's the sport that's actually really kind of exciting. I've said on the Tower Rack Account a couple of times. This is the story of the spring.
Yep.
So Western swept last week. They beat Eastern in Richmond 6-5 midweek, and then they swept UNC Charlotte at home. So now they are at 6-0 in conference and 22-5 overall.
This is wild.
Dude. So I think that's tied for the best start in school history, something like that. But you look at this; they are now. I think I posted on Twitter today, number 66 in the RPI. They've got a golden opportunity tomorrow against Kentucky and Lexington. Kentucky, I think, is 12 in the RPI. They've been to a Women's College World Series in the past couple of years. This is an opportunity for a statement win. I think we've got 2 really good pitchers. Kennedy Sullivan is the one that threw the no-hitter earlier this year, and there's another girl this weekend. I think it's Kelsey Akey or something like that, and she had 2 shutout games against Charlotte. So, having a 2-headed monster in your rotation, they don't. It's not like baseball where you have to have 4 or 5 pitchers. You can ride 2 or 3 arms till their arms fall off because that underhand motion doesn't really cause as much damage as just throwing, a hard ball 100 miles an hour. So, we're set up to have a good run this year. And if we can somehow beat Kentucky tomorrow, it's time to really get excited because then a potential at-large bid is kind of is on the table because of their closing schedule. So, this is the story to monitor. I would say, if you have streaming capability, just put it on the SEC Network Plus tomorrow and see if we can pull off. I think it's at 5:00 tomorrow. So.
Dude, I know you say that underhanded motion does not put as much stress on the body, but the torque coming off of that throw, it looks like it could rip a car door off its hinges.
That's really true, though. Medically speaking, the baseball pitch is so much more unnatural than the actual underhand softball fast pitch.
Interesting.
Yeah,
it's actually true. I mean, I never thought that until I talked to somebody, and I was like, "You are kidding."
So we had that girl Miranda Kramer, I think 4 years ago when we made the NCAA tournament. She single-handed. This is how important a pitcher is in softball. If you have one that's deceptive and just is kind of a ringer, you can beat teams that are way more talented than you because you can win 1-0, 2-1 type games. I think in 2015 or something, we beat like Georgia and UNC, and we had to do was win one more game to go to the Super Regional. She gets hurt, we get blown out, and that was just the total difference of how our team played. So with these two young pitchers we have, it's kind of exciting. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I'm grasping at straws for something to get into, between
for real
now. I mean, obviously, but this is kind of a cool thing on a really crappy season for Western sports. So just something to keep in mind.
Well, and we need any positivity we can throw out at this point for Western sports because it has been, kind of a letdown year. So anytime we can get a team that's absolutely just romper stomping through is going to be a good time.
So let's see here, Jared. Oh well, Ross. I guess we should really talk about our sport that's still continuing, and that's Lady Tops basketball.
The basketball that's still playing.
Woo, Lady Tops.
Yeah. So Ross, I guess you got that too for us, buddy.
Sure. I just kind of kept up with Matt's tweets on this, why it happened when I was watching the men's tournament the other day. But
shout out to Matt for covering the crap out of the ladies' games.
Matt's crazy. We say it all the time, and he's got a lot of passion. But Thursday we went up to Miami, Ohio. I think the game was kind of wild. There was like 3 or 4 10-point swings. We ended up surviving 67-63. And then Sunday we hosted Morehead State, won our 17th in a row against them. Apparently it was just a god-awful, ugly game where Morehead kind of led the whole game, and then Western took control at the, towards the end of the fourth quarter, and they held on for a 68-65 victory to advance to the Sweet 16 to play the Battle of the Stand-Up and Cheers against the Ohio Bobcats
Even
on
though
Thursday
Ross
at
talked
6
mad
or
crap
7 Eastern.
about Morehead earlier.
Yes, he did. He did talk a lot of crap about Morehead. And
I
even
did,
made me
and
and
I
Jake
ate the
change our
crow.
minds. Jake and I changed our votes, and we were like, "Oh well, we probably will see Ohio State."
And then
the Morehead chant started, and we all just went, "Yeah, okay."
I do like beating in-state people though. That
Yeah,
always
that's
kind of
not
makes me
fair.
happy. I mean, yeah, you might. It is cooler sometimes if you can beat if you get a Power 5 in, you can play them and win. But at the same time, it's like, haha, Eastern Kentucky people punted you back across the border.
Which is really Morehead technically Eastern though, because they're almost like northern.
They're like an hour west of Huntington, West Virginia.
Yeah,
they're
I mean,
pretty close.
Have any of you guys ever been there?
yes, I've been through there, but
Nope.
I've never stopped.
It's like
That's
well,
probably
it's
pretty
about
best.
10 minutes
Yeah, I
off
agree,
the
too.
interstate. It's in this little mountain town, and
I just don't feel like Morehead is an Eastern
I mean-
Kentucky school. Though,
I mean, you don't
know?
feel anything about.
I mean it's
Morehead.
not
That's true,
down
too.
in the hollers of Harlan or anything, but it is definitely an Eastern Kentucky school.
Yeah,
I mean it's kind of like we're Western Kentucky, even though Murray's in more actual further Western Kentucky, but I would say it's kind of the same dichotomy to that.
you know,
And that's actually a good debate because I don't really feel like Bowling Green is a Western Kentucky.
if you measure it, we're just barely west of the center of the state.
yeah, but
Well, that's
it be
why
more like
they call
Southern
Bowling Green
Kentucky?
South Central Kentucky.
Oh yeah,
not
we're
Western
way more
Kentucky.
south central than we are west. I had a guy. there was some dude who came to talk to us in law school, and he was from like proper. He was a rep from like proper Western Kentucky, like out Callaway County way. And he's like, "So how many of y'all are from Western Kentucky?" And I kind of was like, "Well, I'm from Western." Because I always think, oh, I'm what? WKU, it's Western. He's like, where are you from? Blank. He's like, you ain't Western Kentucky. And I was like, yeah, but I went to Western. He's like, well, Western shouldn't be called Western Kentucky. It should be called, like, Southern Kentucky or something. And so I actually got out Google Maps and, like, looked at it. And I told him then, I was like, if you divide it up, we are more west than we are east. Just FYI, we're west of that center line, Hoss. He's like, whatever, dude.
Yeah, but, I mean, and that's the argument, too, is what justifies west. Like, if you live in Pikeville, you don't think that Richmond is actually Eastern Kentucky.
That's true.
You know, and if you live in Somerset or those, you're like, well, Richmond's not Eastern. They're Northern Kentucky. You know,
it's basically when they established the teachers' colleges back in the early 1900s. Basically, I guess they had to go by the state routes, and well, compared to Louisville and Lexington and whatever, those were slightly east and west.
Yeah, see, I wasn't around back then. So
and not only that, but think about, like, Kentucky at the time and, like, where the humanity is. Bowling Green was pretty much as far west as humans existed. A little bit Owensboro, but everything else was still kind of just like, what's out there? I don't know, Missouri?
I ain't going up that far. I don't know what's out there. So, Lady Tops beat Moorhead, as we've established.
And now they play the Fighting Bobcats.
Yes, now they've got the Bobcats.
And we have to beat them because Stand Up and Cheer is ours.
Yeah, because the only good thing that comes out of Ohio is I-75 South, so...
Ooh, nice. That's right.
Doesn't Ohio have good beer? Aren't there good breweries in Ohio?
See, I don't drink beer, so I don't
know. I've heard Athens is actually one of the better college towns there is.
Really?
Athens, Ohio. Yeah, they say it's like a really good party school. Like, it's kind of isolated, so it's not like even like Western is where people like go home on the weekends. It's like I've heard it's like a really good party school or whatever. So or college.
Ohio is just Pennsylvania, but worse.
It's just Pennsylvania. Like I went through Pennsylvania for the first time this summer, and I could say not overly impressed. Philly
that's like Indiana to me. I was never impressed with Indiana.
Now they got mountains, which is nice. I will say that, and they got Gettysburg, which is cool. Philly has cool history, but
and cheesesteaks.
What?
And cheesesteaks.
And cheesesteaks. I went to one of the because I was googling. I was like, okay, what are the better cheesesteaks in town? And like, okay, what's the one to avoid because everybody's there? And I actually had a spicy Philly cheesesteak, which had like pepper jack cheese and jalapenos. Because I don't actually.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Oh, dude, it was. And it was so good. And they open up the front. It's like one of those like garage style restaurants. So like they open up that front window so you can like see the street. Oh, dude, it was awesome. It was some of the better food I had on our 3 weeks.
So fun fact on Stand Up and Cheer.
Okay.
It was created in 1909 by Kansas, I guess, music professor. It is their secondary fight song, but is the primary fight song of. Let's see, 5 Division I universities in order according to Wikipedia. WKU, Ohio University, Montana State, Southeast Missouri State in Cape Girardeau, and University of North Dakota Grand Forks. So, also DuPont Manual in Louisville, Madison North Hopkins in Madisonville, Bell County in Pineville. Any more Kentucky counties? No. Oh, Pulaski County and Union College. So
go Union.
It's a lot more Stand Up and Cheer than we realize in the state of Kentucky.
That is pretty wild. I will say, Pineville.
What you're saying is that it's ours.
That's right.
Everyone else is irrelevant.
We're the number 1 on that list. It's Kansas's secondary fight song.
For good reason, we're number 1 on that list.
Well, by God, we should be.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jake.
Sorry. Well, I was just going to say, I guarantee you it's Monday. There are no... Even if it was Thursday at, actually 3 minutes before the game, there wouldn't be a point spread. But how do we think the Lady Tops are going to do against the Fighting Stealing Our Song / us stealing their song, Bobcats of Ohio? Ross?
I was like dead.
I think it's a toss-up. Obviously, going to the road... which Western team's going to show up. You go by common opponents. They beat Middle by 2. I know we beat let's see, the times we played Middle most recently. This is good podcasting.
It's definitely
We beat
It's not
we
like we
beat
just came up with
Middle
this today.
most recently 67-56. So I mean, just by scores, I think we can beat them. It just depends if Raheem shows up, if Wendy Creech has a good game. Who am I mixing? D Givens. It depends who shows up on the road. So
Yeah, Jared, what do you think? And then we'll take Jake and I's opinions.
Yeah, I mean, going on the road, you never really know what you're going to get with any of the Western teams that we have this season. But, I mean, yeah, it just depends. I think Whitney Creech is kind of the X factor on that team. If she can get going and getting some shots dropping, I think that's going to help their chances a lot. Plus, I mean, Raheem, seeing what she can do, she's really good. I really hope that they actually show up in this game and keep the sad season that has been WKU basketball in general still alive and keep going in the NIT.
if they win this game, I think you can spin Collins' debut season in a positive light.
Yeah, I would say so because, I mean, especially comparatively speaking, so, having the early struggles in the season, I mean, some of it due to strength of schedule, we get that, but then, we got really excited, had some wins in early conference, and then it came down. And you're like, oh man, now have we made a mistake? Is he actually, does he need to be the coach? And then get some wins towards the tail end of the season, get a WNIT berth, get some wins in the WNIT. I think we could swing. I mean, even at this point, it's like, okay, not the worst thing that could have happened. And like you said, you make an actual Elite Eight run. Okay, now we're really talking about a successful debut season.
With a lot of talent coming back next year.
And that's a key reminder that everybody needs to, keep in the front of your mind is that people are coming back. This is not a team that's losing a lot, and it's something he can really build on. I don't know what the recruiting class next year looks like. Do either of you guys?
No idea.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, the recruiting services are harder for women's basketball. It's just not as heavily publicized, so it's harder to get in there and find out unless you actually get the commits that day and look at them and go look at the class. You can't necessarily tell nationally how.
I mean, looking at our roster though, I think Collins has kind of proven that he likes to find those diamonds in the rough, whether it be foreign players or local Kentucky players when he was helping recruit for Clark Hurd. So, I mean, I'm sure there's got to be somebody up his sleeve if they haven't completed their recruiting class yet. So
yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I was kind of zoned out. I just don't, I mean, I agree. The strength of schedule is crazy this year for the girls. I think they did well considering they're basically one of the most ignored programs on campus.
I mean, of the major kind of sports.
Of the major sports.
Yeah.
Because track or some
golf.
of those, golf's
I mean,
probably
there's some teams who do, for instance, track is freaking killing it, dude.
They always do.
They're setting some good records, and they're
yeah, but you can't. Nobody watches track. I mean, it's one of those things you brag about where if it goes well, just kind of like we're doing with softball, unfortunately.
Dude, I'll tell you what, if they broadcast the track, I actually kind of like watching some of the relays and the hurdles. I'm not going to lie.
I will say,
some of the throw-in stuff is cool.
Yeah, working with the track team, we always had to cover Western's meets as a trainer. So I always got stuck with the throwers, so I would sit down there and watch them throw.
Dude, I'll tell you what, though, setting up hurdles is a pain in the butt. Y'all ever set up hurdles?
Nope, and I was glad
Thankfully not.
Dude, they suck. You know how hard it is to put up? At Thanksgiving when you're trying to put up that old card table that doesn't really work that well? Imagine that, but they weigh, that they're, heavier and worse. Yeah, then you gotta, move them and stack them. That stuff sucks.
Yeah, I was just so glad I didn't have to do any of that. I just walked out there and just showed up and did what, just sit there and watched.
Devin,
just wait for something to happen. And I'm
Devin, go grab that javelin out from over there. No.
That's not my job. Sorry. Nope, you go ahead. I'm not walking out there until this is all done.
Have you guys ever seen Saving Silverman?
Oh yeah.
God, yes. Greatest movie ever.
I'm just thinking when Arlie.
It still holds up. I watched it a year ago and it was still fun.
It's still fun. No man, if all the chips stick together, that's one nacho. That's not multi nacho. That's one nacho. That's the rule. It's one nacho, man. I was just thinking of javelin. I was thinking when he threw the down marker and killed the ref, and it's going back and forth.
That is a golden movie, and that's a diamond in the rough.
There's some very funny and inappropriate quotes I could say from that movie right now,
That's
but I'll
so
just hold
good.
off.
So many
Yes, those
good-
are so good, though.
Yeah, so that's your homework, podcast listeners. Go watch
Yes, go watch
Saving Silverman, 'cause
Silverman.
that's so good.
Oh, it's such a great movie.
And Arlie Ermy, may he rest in peace. Or not in peace, that's how he would like it.
You been bitching loafs on the lawn? I break okay out there.
Yeah, that scene is
I
great.
gotta go
too.
watch it. I don't think my
Oh
wife's
my
ever seen
gosh.
that movie. I gotta make her watch it. Because she loves stupid humor like
That's
that.
so, but it's beautiful.
Hope you enjoyed the clip from our latest episode. Subscribe for our weekly Red Out podcast. And always remember, go Tops.